Um, so yeah, and because I still have a lot of pear more than other things, so it's getting a little better with my adventures with these bad influences like Ben.
Is that what this said? Is that P, that's pear?
That's pear, yeah.
Bradford pear, huh?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thanks.
It's a beautiful wood. If you can stay close enough to the outside, you get these really nice bluish gray hues in it. But anyway, once I knew my shape, drill it out. The most important thing is that whatever piece you're going to gild is finished. Like with whatever kind of finish you're going to put on it, you want it completely done. That gold leaf, the more you touch it, the more you handle it, the duller it gets, and kind of to keep it really nice and bright, you want to put it on after it's finished. And you don't want to put any finish on the gold either. Now there are some sealers and things you can put on them, but it really dulls it. And if you do like a lacquer or anything like that, it just takes that vibrance right out of it. From my experience. So I usually, once it's on there, I leave it alone. Clean it up a little bit maybe, but that's it. And so I brought all 7 of my tools, but I only need this one. The designs you do can vary, right? Like on the one I did in the raffle, I just kind of made it look like a napped flint look. But if you got a rose engine that does amazing things, you could really get creative with the design that you're gonna gild. You know, I've got a few different types of metal leaf: copper, rose gold, 18 karat, 24 karat. They're all slightly different in colors, and I try to pick my leaf to go with the wood the best, right?
Where do you get your leaf?
I actually got all mine from my grandma, so I didn't have to pay for it. It was good, but you can get a lot of it at Hobby Lobby.
Oh, really?
Like you'll see, like my adhesive size was $1.19. So I think she bought this in the 70s or 80s or something, you know. Now everything's in plastic, but that doesn't really matter. As long as the glue is adhesive, it will work. I honestly think that a thin layer of contact cement would be the same, because the size is very similar to a contact cement. We'll brush it on, and then we'll let it sit for about 5 minutes to tack up, and then we'll put the leaf on it, clean it up, and that's it.
I seem like I've seen sign guys doing gold leaf and sign. And what do they use a brush for static electricity to pick it up?
Yes,
I mean,
because it's so.
You can't touch it. I mean, it's so fragile.
Yes, it'll just shred in your hand. I mean, you can get a little bit of play with it, but the thing you want to keep in mind too, depending on your design, if you have a nice flat smooth surface, that's what you're going to attach your gold to. You want that gold to be flat and as not wrinkled as possible. When you have more of a textured finish, it doesn't matter if it's kind of wrinkly or creased, because that kind of hides it a little bit. But
I on this thing, you textured that, didn't you?
Before you put that on? Yeah.
What'd you texture that with?
With my Dewey engine. I just have a gouge. I almost called you and was like, hey, let me borrow some of your carving. Or I should have called you and said, hey, cut me a cool design on there. But yeah, I just used a gouge chisel. You could use the cheap chisels, you know, pretty much anything you want, as long as it gets the effect you're going for. Yeah, so the idea for that one is from the Tiny Turner. I don't know if anybody knows her on YouTube. She's super short, shorter than you even. Very good turner though, super knowledgeable, and she does great work. And that kind of gave me the idea, because I was thinking, what am I going to show you guys? I'm the new guy. I'm still learning a lot, and I figured this is probably the best avenue to take to actually entertain you guys for 45 minutes. So, and then I took a lot of the work out you know, prepping
Bring
all this
brownies
stuff up.
next time.
Yeah. Yeah, but it'll be 14 months before I can do it again, it sounds like, so. Or no, even longer than that, huh? Is it through August or through May? That'd be about a year or so. Robert volunteered me for this demo. Thank you, Robert.
Anytime.
Something Freddie taught me I didn't know. Technatool, Nova's website, they have these measurements for using a chuck that won't mark your foot. So if you get your space just right on a certain type of chuck, it won't leave a mark on your foot. And so that's how I've kind of gotten this one. And I'm trying to do them all that way because it just makes your life easy. You don't have to go back and clean up anything. But great tip. And they got it on their website, though I couldn't find it. Freddie said it's there. I think I took, you know that graph you got that shows you all the different chucks and what size they need to be to not mark?
No, that's on Mocha.
Yeah, Technatool. I just couldn't find it. I did look for a little bit, but it is there. And I only have Nova chucks, so I only need a couple measurements and I got all I need. Some of you guys got 20 chucks and 5 brands. You know. Eventually I'll get there, but
It's got a chuck fetish.
yeah. Well, it really makes your life easier when you're not messing with teeth and, you know.
They're all different. That changes goes.
Yeah. Like Richard Raffin on YouTube, he just pulls out a chuck for whatever he's doing. He's got a chuck already ready to go, and there's no changing out of anything. And granted, chucks aren't cheap either. It takes a while to get a bunch. And this one's a 1-inch, but I bought the adapter because my old lathe was a 1-inch, and my new lathe is a 1 1/4. And so then I got a chuck for that, but I still want to be able to use this chuck, you know. Anyway, on my lathe too, the lock on mine is a push button. And if you let your hand off of the button, it'll unlock itself. The Powermatics, you just hit the lock and it stays locked. So like on this one, I don't really need the dang it, what's this called again, Ben?
Index point.
Yeah, the index plate. On mine I do because it's the only way I can keep up with turning it to do the designs, and especially if you're doing a very intricate design, you need it to be pretty precise, right? For that one I did, not so much because I'm just shaving out little chunks here and there.
This is also an index plate on the back of the water.
Okay.
That's what this is the same thing.
Oh, awesome. So you're saying, like on this newer chuck, that's an index plate on the back which I didn't know that. So like on a lathe like mine, something like this helps a lot because you can index it perfectly, and then all your cuts or your design will be a little more consistent, right? And thanks for letting me borrow this, Ben. But basically, once you have your piece ready for gilding, I finished this with Mylans. There's nothing special about the finish.
Jerry,
Yeah,
you might want to put that chuck in
Oh.
there, so it'll roll off of there.
good idea.
When you turn the machine on.
This one checked real bad. I don't know if you can see that, but that's why I didn't ever finish that one.
Can't you just do a little fill on it?
Yeah, I'll do it later at home or for a raffle or auction or something like that.
I love that shape, that avocado.
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah.
I do a lot of food things with my wood.
Big avocado.
Yeah.
Great big.
When I have my piece ready for the gilding, that's when I kind of decide what design I'm going to put on there. I look for flaws or spots that may need covering, just to kind of help hide those things. Like here, I got a little bit of a branch inclusion that's starting to check, and there's a wormhole and a wormhole, and another little branch that's checking. So I'll probably, whatever design I put on there, I'm going to put over those so that it just hides it and makes it a little more stable. You'll see like people that will fill the grooves instead of like burning them or just cutting them. They'll fill them with copper or
Key filings.
key filings, or you could do like that leather string. Anything, those beads like Ben had in his bowl. So you can make it as decorative or as fancy as you want. For today, sorry, I'm not used to Powermatic here. That's not the right button. Where's the power button on this thing? Huh?
Pull the big red one,
It's out.
then turn, then restart. Unless
Oh,
you've got it
okay.
locked.
It's not on, okay. So maybe my wood moved a little bit and my, from when I took it out of the chuck. It doesn't have to be perfect, but for the cuts, I want it to be fairly close because I don't want it real deep and real shallow. But for the gilding, that won't affect anything.
Better.
Yeah. We'll just go with that. It's just a demo anyway. So, I think I forgot my pencil too. Just gonna mark kind of where I want them. Thank you, sir. I usually don't. Look at that. I didn't even cut on this side here. Sorry.
Way to move it, though.
Sorry for boring you all with this. It is kind of like wobbly on the,
Is it fully mounted?
I don't know.
Shouldn't be wobbling.
But that's kind of on that tailstock, dude. Where's it coming from?
Thank you. It's not here.
Pull up the thing in the tailpipe, then the little door.
Oh, I see what you're saying. There it is.
Put that comment on there and it slides up under the center.
Thank you. Ready. Oh yeah, that's way off.
Yeah, I was setting it up perfect.
Genius.
Right tool at the right time.
That's right. So we'll go back with the grooves a little more evenly cut this time. Yeah, a lot better. And then from there, does this one not have a lock, or is it like mine?
No, push the button.
There it goes. You know, there's no real.
Got the Dewey engine?
Yep. It's kind of sloppy and lazy, but it works. You do want to be like, you don't want to get real deep creases or a lot of scratches. And you can play with that effect more. On the one Freddie has, I put all these little gouges really close to each other, so there's not a lot of high points, or you know, pieces that'll stand out a little more with the shading, I guess, of the gold once it's on. On this one, I'm just gonna spread them out a little bit more to give you the effect and to also just let you see a different style. You want to be careful that you don't get too close to going over your line. It's okay to get into the line. You just don't want to go outside of your line, or you'll be changing your line to kind of fix that.
Is there a purpose for texture in that?
Just the appearance, I guess. Yeah.
Or to hide defects.
Because I noticed on this piece you made here, there's no seam that I can see, it's seam.
No.
I was wondering if that would help hide that seam.
I guess it could, but that gold will overlap a little bit, and that kind of hides that a little better, because it's very, very delicate stuff. Okay, how do you get the button to unlock? There it goes. So this one's like mine, and Ben told me that this wasn't a C model, but I don't listen. I went to Ben's to look at his model because I thought it was the same. And I don't have a Powermatic. I have a Laguna, the big
Tell
one.
us what kind of glue you use on that?
Yeah, you use leaf size, so it's a metal size. I got some extra if you want
You
some.
buying that at like Michael's or somewhere?
Yeah, Hobby Lobby, Michael's, yeah, probably Hobby Town. I still haven't been to Hobby Town. I need to go over there and see what they got. Get some ideas, some inspiration. Yeah, and this could be much nicer if you had a way to get a more consistent pattern. You do want to keep in mind too, your wood grain, which way your wood grain's flowing, go with it. You don't want to tear it out. It makes it a little easier. Of course, my gouge is pretty sharp, but even a sharp tool, the grain can be a problem for you. You can go as deep as you want or as light as you want, like those little cups that Freddie made with his Rose engine. Well, you could get some amazing patterns, but it'd be a little more difficult if they're real deep. You know, the deeper they are, the harder it is to fill and to get a consistent look with the gold. Because I'd say the gold is like probably like the most critical part, because if you get that wrong, you can cover it with more, but then you're just chasing your tail because they'll be slightly off the shades and the colors. And like I said, the more you rub on it, the more you touch it, the more it changes that color. But in itself, it's fairly easy to do. So I did another bowl, and I used leaf. It just didn't make it to show and tell because I made it from that wood that Jim Burt gave away last meeting, and I made him a small bowl as a thank you. And he took it when he left for the funeral, so I didn't get to show you guys. But I was going to show y'all how you could do it with leaf also. And I will tell you that using the little pieces, the little flakes, is much harder than using the solid sheet. Yeah,
But it's a lot cheaper.
it is a lot
But it's a
cheaper.
lot
Yeah,
different one.
right.
How come the flakes are hard?
You just don't have that consistent layer. Yeah, and like if you'd have seen his bowl, it was real big and flaky on bottom, and on the sides where I was trying to spread it out more and get more coverage, I had broken those little flakes even more to the point where you didn't have that same effect because they were a lot smaller. It kind of looked dirty compared to the bottom.
I know I've seen up there like Hobby Lobby or wherever those flakes are different colors.
Uh-huh.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, those are a little better because they kind of hide that better because they're already different shades, you know. And that's the video I watched from the Tiny Turner. Hers were like gold and blue with purple and different colors. It looks sharp. But I don't have that, so you get what I do have. And yeah, but she really impressed me. And I've never seen her before. It was just like a random video that came up on my homepage. Because most of us watch woodwork and stuff. That's the videos that come up on our. But yeah, she's from Australia or something. She was really impressive. Her knowledge of tools and her machine, and very professional and like structured. But
He's not very big either.
no, she is. I mean, she barely is taller than her lathe. And she has a Strata because she's European, you know. But Strata's pretty well made. But I don't think it's much taller than a Powermatic, or mine's pretty much the same size.
But it's perfect with your elbow.
Yeah,
It's about high for you.
yeah, just the wrong color. Okay, so we got our design. You take your brush, and there are things you can get to go with your size. Like you can base coat the color on the wood before you put the leaf on there. So like red or.
So you don't have to sand that where you
Mm-mm.
texture that?
No, that's another good thing about gilding is you can go to like 120 grit and you cover it right up. Nobody will see a scratch. Yeah. Besides, it looks kind of like wood glue, but its composition is more like contact cement. Another reason I like to put these little grooves in there is it kind of helps me keep a cleaner layer of glue, and I don't really get into the over the lines, so to speak. Another thing you want to make sure at this point is you take your time with your size. It doesn't have to be real thick.
So is that stuff dry clear?
Yes, and if you miss the spot, you'll know it because that leaf will not stick, and then you're going back trying to touch up little things that should drive you bonkers.
They want me to zoom in on you.
Okay. So this stage is very important that you just take your time and make sure you have good coverage of the whole band. Or if you're doing the whole thing, right, if you just want to gild the whole piece.
Better?
Thank you.
I do like sometimes just doing like the lip of the bowl or the base, you know, just that part, instead of cutting into it or changing it. But if I do that, it's because the rest of it looks pretty good. I'm not trying to hide nothing, you know. Just kind of get that, make sure you coat it really good. And then if you have these little textured pieces in there, you have to take special care that it gets down into those and you have that covered.
Is it possible to put too much of that on there?
I guess so. I mean, if it was too thick, it might be a little squishy and you might be like smearing it kind of. But I've never had an issue with kind of going heavy with it. But if it was like really heavy, you know.
So it's just the more you put on it, the longer it takes it to dry, right?
Yeah. And sometimes you'll let it dry too much and then it's just Yeah, you gotta just,
So there is a limit.
yes, on the time. I'd, like, a lot of people will tell you 15 minutes. I don't like to go longer than 5, because you get a better contact, and it just works out better that way. If you do go over your line, you can wipe that off, or clean it up after.
So did you pre-finish that
Yeah.
vessel?
Mm-hmm.
With what?
Mylons. Yeah. I like Mylons because it's easy.
Yeah.
It's
she'll have-
fast. Yeah. And you want it pretty much finished before you do this part. And once you put that on, you're done. If you don't like having little flakes, they get into these little cracks, you can burn them after and burn that out. Or you can cover them with like wire or leather, cloth, beads. Or you could just actually just hit it with your tool real light, carefully, and clean it up that way. Yeah. But yeah, I won't, after this goes on, we're just gonna call it good. Forgot a water. Can somebody grab me a little thing of water? Whose water is this? Fix to steal it.
Got it.
Go for it.
Thank you. That size will ruin your brush, so make sure you get it out.
Hey, that was my water.
Well, you want it back?
Hey, it'll stick to you
And then on the leafy part, I like to keep mine in a little folder that's a little stiff, and then I keep some like added stiffness in there to keep it from wrinkling and crushing. Like here's some rose gold from Hobby Lobby. So if you buy it at Hobby Lobby, that's probably what it's going to look like. And you get 25 sheets. You order online, you can get the better stuff in the thicker packets, you know.
So where are you ordering it from?
I got it from my grandma, but I know you can't order it.
What's your address?
She actually used to live over by Freddie, but she's passed away now. So usually I'll just grab one sheet, being careful, God dang it, to not pull out all the rest of the leaf.
So you don't need your fan blowing at this part in time in your shop, right?
No, you will regret that. Yeah, and I'm trying to pull it out with the paper so that I can cut it, and it's not wanting to.
Can you help?
Let me see here. It looks like a different type of gold maybe or something. I want to keep it with the paper. What was that? It's easier to cut without tearing it, and it's easier to apply if you have a little bit of paper on the top, because then you can just smear the paper and it doesn't mess up your gold so much. But you can see how just touching that little bitty corner really kind of ripped it up, shredded it, and wrinkled it. I got it, Robert. I got it. Thank you. It's so fragile. I'm just gonna pick it out. And then when you get these little pieces, save them. Another good tip Jim Burke gave me when he got here this morning was that you can mix that with epoxy if you have a crack and really push it through the crack to where it's coming out the other side, and it looks like a crystal kind of natural effect to it. Okay. So you can see it is, for being the heaviest element.
There's another thing down by your foot underneath the leg.
It is very light and feathery, you know. It likes to drift, and any kind of, even your breath can make it fly and move around. And sorry, I'm a messy turner. Brought some scissors and I brought some razor blades. I feel like the razor blades work a little bit better because you don't have to manhandle the foil as much. Me and Van played around with this with his pins and he engraved some things. And it worked good, except that on the pins, you just need a little bit bigger space. Like you don't want to go too small to Gilding, you lose it in your project.
I'm gonna go get that pin you made for me and pass it around,
Okay.
because I carry it with me all the time.
Okay, so I just kind of cut it to the width I want, right? Just to be less wasteful. Golly. And then I'm just gonna lay it over. It's gonna be a little bigger, obviously. Then I like to take the paper and put that on top, and that's what I'll rub. Going back to your question, he's asleep. If you're doing the flake and stuff, a dry brush is perfect for grabbing what you need and putting it on your project. You try to use your finger, it's just a mess.
This demo is really interesting, though. Don't take that as a...
Oh, I know, he does it every demo. Wake up, Jim. And I'll usually keep like a piece of paper or a folder or something on the lathe to catch the little pieces that'll fall, or a ball or something like that. You're not going to get all of them. You don't want to be wasting all that time looking for little chunks and pieces. But you can get most of them this way. And you'll see, like, I went over here and I went over here. If I take my dry gold brush, it's pretty much packed with little pieces of gold now, but see all that money coming out of there? Sometimes you can get it to break away pretty good, where you have a pretty solid piece.
Do you kind of poke it in or do you stroke it in?
Yeah, I'm
Brush
kind
it.
of poking it loose, I guess. And then you can save those for patching, or you could just move it right over to another spot. And maximize your utilization of the gold, right? Come here. It's very delicate. Kind of.
How they can make it, how they can roll it so thin.
I know, right?
Yeah, and then put it in package.
Mm-hmm.
I guess it's all static electricity.
Honestly, I have no idea how they did that. And then you think back to like Egyptian times, some of the stuff they made out of metal leaf 5,000 years ago. You're just like, what and how in the hell?
Pound
You
on
know.
it until it.
And with rocks and stuff, I
Yeah.
mean, you know? So, before I put on the next piece, I'm just going to try to fill in the spots I know I missed here. And then you can see all that extra. Just kind of hit it with your brush a little bit. Pull it back over.
The piece went down.
Yeah. It's going to go in the jar, I think. And then, what's not glued, you can see.
No,
What's not glued, you can see comes right off.
Don't have to worry about tearing or anything.
If it's glued, it won't. Now, it will scratch a little bit, depending on how stiff your brush is. If you're going into it very far. So you can see kind of like not brushed, brushed. I don't know if you can see the difference there.
yeah.
But just getting rid of the excess.
Loose stuff.
Yeah. And then that's not in my way, and I'm not doubling up on the next batch. If you get a little bit on your unglued parts, it's fine, because you're gonna cover it again anyway. I got some size on my fingers, so it's starting to get sticky on the paper and stuff. Remember too, when you're on the top of a vase like this, or your angles aren't flat, like you're gonna lose a little bit of the piece, because it's gonna go this way or it's gonna go that way. And excuse me, so you can see how I have this big extra piece over here just because of the shape of the vase, right? But really, like half of a paper or a gold leaf paper did this whole bulk. So, you know, if that costs you $4, you know, it only costs you $2 to put it on this, and then how much more can you get for this now? How much more attractive is it, you know? So it's a good, what's the word I'm looking for? Yeah, it's a good upsell, right? So you can see here, I'm just gonna pull it off, and it pretty much pulled off where it wasn't glued. And now I can use this piece to fill up a couple other small holes. Oops. And then it's just going around and making sure you got no gaps, and you're gonna have.
What would you sell a piece like that for?
I would try to sell it for, I don't know, $40, $45. Of course, you always want to go high, right? Let them talk you down, they get a deal, and you're still making some money. Yeah, that's it. I'll take
Still got a loose piece on this side.
Okay. And I'll clean this up with my brush. You can use like a razor and you can scrape a little bit. The problem with scraping it with a razor is you're messing up the finish on your bowl. If you see any high spots, just push them down. Anything that's not glued will do what that's doing.
You just need something under there to catch it.
Yeah.
You save all that and reuse it.
Mm-hmm. It's hard to throw gold away, right?
Yeah, I
Like-
think so.
Like, I can't throw that away, it's gold.
$1,600 an ounce or whatever.
$3,000. $3,000 right now
Oh, my
for an
God.
ounce of gold.
Wow.
Yeah, so I probably got $3,000 in my bag, you know?
At least, yeah, maybe more.
Don't tell my grandma that, no. My grandma was a very crafty person, especially sewing, stuff like that, like Laura. Hey, that's all the tools I got. So you get a nice finish. Just keep wiping until you have no more big flakes or you don't see any gold moving, right? Because if it's moving, it's either not on the glue good or it's coming off.
Do you seal that with anything?
No, there is sealer you can get, but I choose not to because it dulls it too much. It just takes away that brightness.
But touching it afterwards is not going to harm it, or
No, eventually the oils from your hands will affect that.
Try not to handle it too much.
Yeah, and most pieces like this aren't like, they're going on a shelf or a bookshelf or a table or something. God,
You don't have to put any overspray on it or anything to seal it.
no, if you do, you're gonna dull it. you'll lose that pop that it's got. But you could. But if you did, you'd be like, damn, why did I do that? Yeah. You'd probably just go back and do it again so it looks the way you wanted it. This is probably the longest part, is the cleanup part. You can see a piece there. I got over with my glue a little bit across the line. And when it's stuck, it's stuck.
So how do you clean that off?
So how I did Freddy's is I just turned it back on and refinished it with the Mylans, being very careful of my line. So I just spun it back up and got right to the edge, and it wiped it off and didn't mess up but I prefer not to do that.
Could you use a razor blade and just kind of
Yes.
scrape it gently,
Mhm.
it'll just kind of peel off?
But since it's already finished, you gotta be extra careful. Unless you wanna finish it again. And you can see there is some cleanup there.
You're just wiping it down, I see.
Yeah. It's important too to go both directions. So like once you wipe it off this way, and pushed it down pretty good, then start wiping it down the other way. And any pieces that, just from the physics of that overlap, will come off. You know. But if you don't go both ways, you might have pushed it down and it looks great, but then the wind catches it and now you have this little flapper. Yeah. Yeah. Which makes it look unfinished, or, you know. So I'll demonstrate with the razor blade real quick, just to show y'all. I haven't tried things like an eraser or anything like that. Is it okay if I use your eraser?
Sure, go ahead.
Holy moly. An eraser works really good also. But I'm sure that would have messed up your finish a little bit too. Maybe dull it out some. Man, you can see there. It takes that,
Just takes it right off.
yeah, man, that's a, thanks, Paul.
Learn something new every day.
I can do to help.
Learn something new every day.
Every day is a new experience.
Oops.
Don't
Probably
sneeze.
wasn't the smartest thing to do.
Don't sneeze.
Just a little bit too early.
If y'all get into, really try not to worry yourself too much about the flake, because there's just no controlling it. Save what you can and just let the rest go. You'll have a pretty floor for a couple days, you know.
Expensive trash.
Yeah. Because I mean, it just keeps breaking down, and it breaks down from that big old flake to
Dust.
minuscule dust. Yeah. Pretty much, yeah. So there's that worst part that had the glue on it. And this eraser does pretty stinking good, actually. And you could always do, like I said.
Especially if you got a new eraser with a nice crisp
Edge on it?
edge on it, yeah.
Yeah. But I'll probably just take this home and finish it up. So that's pretty much how I gild things.
Perfect.
Would anybody like half a leaf? Want to try it?
No.
Come on, you can do it on a pen or something. I even have some size you can have too.
Thanks, Dave, that was wonderful.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Even if it did cost me a fortune.
Actually, I can